You don't control what happens to you. You don't control other people. You don't control circumstances, economy, weather, traffic, or 1,000 other external factors that affect your life. But there's one thing you always control completely: your attitude. Your attitude is how you respond to what happens, how you interpret events, what meaning you assign to circumstances, what perspective you bring to situations. This is entirely within your control. Always has been. Always will be. This might seem like small thing. If you can't control circumstances, what good does controlling attitude do? Everything. Because attitude determines how circumstances affect you. Two people face same situation with different attitudes and have completely different experiences. Same event, radically different results. The difference is attitude. Think about your life right now. You're facing certain circumstances. Some good, some difficult, some neutral. But your experience of life isn't determined by these circumstances. It's determined by your attitude toward them. How you're choosing to respond. What meaning you're assigning. What perspective you're taking. Change the circumstances and you might improve life temporarily. But circumstances will change again. Sometimes favorably, sometimes not. You can't control this flow. But change your attitude, and you transform your experience of life regardless of circumstances. This is power you possess constantly. Most people don't realize this. They believe their experience is determined by external factors. Good circumstances, good life. Bad circumstances, bad life. They wait for circumstances to improve before their attitude can improve. This is backwards. Attitude doesn't follow circumstances. Attitude shapes how you experience circumstances. This is why some people with every advantage are miserable, while others with significant challenges are content. It's not circumstances, it's attitude. The miserable person with advantages has attitude of dissatisfaction, complaint, and negativity. The content person with challenges has attitude of gratitude, acceptance, and positivity. You can probably think of examples. Person who has success, health, relationships, opportunities, yet complains constantly and focuses on what's wrong. Person who has struggles, limitations, setbacks, yet maintains positive outlook and focuses on what's possible. Same species, different attitudes, completely different lives. This audiobook is about understanding and harnessing this power, learning that attitude truly is everything, that it determines not just how you feel, but what you achieve, that it's the one variable fully within your control that influences everything else. That mastering attitude is perhaps the most important skill you can develop. We'll explore 10 essential dimensions of attitude mastery, understanding what attitude really is and why it matters so profoundly, choosing your response to circumstances consciously, focusing on what you can control, finding opportunity in difficulty, maintaining positive outlook without denying reality, transforming complaints into solutions, using adversity as catalyst for growth, keeping perspective in both success and failure, influencing others through your attitude, and building mental toughness that sustains positive attitude. These aren't just feel-good concepts. They're practical approaches to taking control of the one thing you can control and using it to transform everything. Each dimension addresses specific aspect of attitude development and maintenance. Together, they create comprehensive mastery of this crucial element. But I need to be completely honest. Controlling attitude is difficult. Your mind has habitual patterns. Your emotions react automatically. Your ego wants to blame external factors. Your environment constantly influences you toward certain attitudes. Overcoming all this, to consciously choose attitude, requires real effort. Most people won't do this work. They'll continue letting circumstances dictate attitude. They'll remain reactive instead of proactive. They'll complain about what they can't control while neglecting what they can. They'll stay stuck in negative patterns while wondering why life is hard. Can you do the work? Can you take responsibility for your attitude regardless of circumstances? Can you maintain positive outlook even when situations are difficult? If yes, then mastery becomes possible. If no, then you'll continue being victim of circumstances. Because here's the truth. Attitude is everything. Not talent, not circumstances, not luck, not resources. These matter, but attitude determines whether you maximize them or waste them. Positive attitude with limited resources achieves more than negative attitude with abundant resources. Right now, your attitude is creating your experience of life. If you're experiencing frustration, dissatisfaction, or struggle beyond what circumstances warrant, negative attitude is amplifying difficulty. If you're experiencing contentment, growth, or success despite challenges, positive attitude is enabling it. This continues until you take control of your attitude, until you realize it's your choice, until you commit to maintaining empowering attitude regardless of what happens, until attitude becomes tool you wield intentionally rather than automatic reaction to circumstances. 6 months from now, you could have completely different attitude. You could respond to challenges positively. You could maintain perspective during difficulty. You could find opportunity in setbacks. You could influence others through your outlook, all because you mastered attitude. Or you could still be reactive, still blaming circumstances, still complaining about what you can't control, still letting external factors determine your internal state. The difference is whether you do the work to master attitude. This is your opportunity, not to change circumstances, though better attitude often leads to better circumstances eventually, but to change how circumstances affect you, to take control of the one thing you can control, to master the variable that determines everything else. Attitude is everything. Not sometimes, not just in certain situations, always, in every circumstance, for every person. Your attitude determines your experience more than any other single factor. Stop letting circumstances control your attitude. Stop being reactive. Stop waiting for external changes to improve internal state. Start taking control of your attitude. Start choosing your response. Start mastering the one thing you always control. Let's learn exactly how to do that. Let's master attitude. Let's transform life from the inside out. Attitude is everything. The work starts now. Chapter 1. Understand what attitude really is. Before you can master attitude, you need to understand what it actually is. Most people have vague sense but can't define it clearly. This vagueness prevents conscious control. You can't master what you don't understand. Attitude is not emotions. Emotions are feelings that arise automatically. Happiness, sadness, anger, fear. These happen to you based on circumstances and brain chemistry. You have influence over emotions but not complete control. Attitude is different. Attitude is chosen perspective and response pattern. It's how you interpret what happens and what you decide to do about it. This is within your control, even when emotions aren't. Let me explain what attitude really is. Attitude is the lens through which you view your life. Same situation can be viewed through different lenses. Optimistic lens sees possibility. Pessimistic lens sees futility. Growth-oriented lens sees learning. Fixed lens sees limitation. Your chosen lens is your attitude. Think of actual camera lens. Wide-angle lens captures more. Telephoto lens zooms on specific detail. Different lenses, same scene, completely different photos. Your attitude works the same way. It determines what you see in your circumstances. Attitude is also your default response pattern to events. When challenge arises, what's your automatic response? Some people default to, "How can I handle this?" Others default to, "Why does this always happen to me?" These default responses are attitude in action. These patterns become habitual. You've responded certain way so many times that it's automatic. But habitual doesn't mean unchangeable. You can develop new default responses. This is attitude work. Attitude includes your general orientation toward life. Do you fundamentally believe life is on your side or against you? That people are generally good or generally bad? That effort matters or doesn't? That you can influence outcomes or you're helpless? These basic orientations shape every specific response. These orientations often form early in life based on experiences and influences. but they're not permanent. You can examine and change fundamental orientations. This deep attitude work is most transformative. Attitude is your choice about where to direct attention. You can't attend to everything. Your attention is selective. What you choose to focus on shapes your experience. Focus on what's wrong and life seems terrible. Focus on what's working and life seems promising. This attention choice is a powerful form of attitude. Two people in same situation can have completely different experiences based on where they direct attention. Attitude determines attention. Attention determines experience. Attitude includes expectations you bring to situations. Expect things to work out and you bring hopeful energy. Expect things to go wrong and you bring anxious energy. These expectations often become self-fulfilling. Your attitude shapes your energy. Your energy influences outcomes. Attitude is reflected in your self-talk, the running commentary in your mind. This self-talk either supports positive attitude or undermines it. I can handle this versus this is impossible. Same situation, different self-talk, different attitude, different outcome. Your self-talk is both result of attitude and reinforcement of it. Negative self-talk reflects and reinforces negative attitude. Positive self-talk reflects and reinforces positive attitude. Changing self-talk is key way to change attitude. Attitude shows in your body language and facial expressions. Positive attitude typically comes with open posture, relaxed face, energetic movement. Negative attitude typically comes with closed posture, tense face, sluggish movement. Body and attitude influence each other bidirectionally. You can use body to shift attitude. Stand tall, smile, move energetically, even when you don't feel like it. This often shifts attitude positively. Your body signals to brain how to feel. Use this connection deliberately. Attitude is choice about what meaning to assign events. Events are neutral until you assign meaning. Rain is neither good nor bad. It's good if you need water. It's bad if you wanted sun. Your chosen meaning is attitude. Most people assign meaning automatically based on how event affects their short-term comfort or goals. Attitude mastery involves consciously choosing meaning that serves you. This setback is teaching me something valuable. That's chosen meaning. Attitude in action. Here's what attitude is not. It's not denial of reality. Positive attitude doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing empowering response to real problems. It acknowledges difficulty, while maintaining belief in capability to handle it. It's not permanent trait you're born with. Attitude is developed through practice. Some people develop positive attitude early, through fortunate circumstances or good role models. Others develop it later through conscious work. Either way, it's developed, not innate. It's not the same for every situation. You might have positive attitude about work, but negative about relationships, or vice versa. Attitude can vary by life domain. Though underlying orientation often carries across domains, it's not independent of circumstances. Circumstances influence attitude. Ongoing severe difficulty makes positive attitude harder to maintain, but influence is not determination. Circumstances make certain attitudes easier or harder, but you still choose within those constraints. Understanding attitude as chosen lens, response pattern, orientation, attention, direction, expectation, self-talk, body language, and meaning-making is crucial. This understanding reveals where you have control. You can choose different lens, develop different response patterns, examine and change orientations, direct attention consciously, adjust expectations, change self-talk, use body deliberately, assign empowering meaning. Each of these is leverage point for attitude change. You're not stuck with current attitude. You can develop attitude that serves you better. This development is the work of attitude mastery. Your current attitude was formed through years of experiences, influences, and habitual responses. Changing it requires understanding what it is, then deliberately working on each component. The understanding comes first. The work follows. Understand what attitude really is. It's your chosen lens on life. your default response patterns, your fundamental orientation, your attention direction, your expectations, your self-talk, your body language, your assigned meanings, all within your control to change. Chapter 2. Choose your response to circumstances. Between what happens to you and how you respond, there's a gap. In that gap lies your power, your ability to choose response. Most people react automatically, closing this gap to nothing. Attitude mastery requires expanding the gap and using it consciously. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote about this. He observed that camp guards could control everything external, his freedom, his treatment, his physical conditions, but they couldn't control his internal response. His attitude remained his choice. In the worst imaginable circumstances, he still had power to choose response. If attitude choice exists in concentration camp, it certainly exists in your life. Whatever you're facing, you have gap between stimulus and response. You have choice. The question is whether you'll use it or let automatic reactions decide. Let me teach you how to choose your response. First, notice the gap. When something happens, there's a moment before you respond, usually very brief. Most people don't notice it because reaction is so automatic, but it exists. In that moment, choice is available. Practice noticing this gap. Something frustrating happens. Before you react with anger, notice the space. Something disappointing happens. Before you react with despair, notice the space. This noticing is first step to using the gap. Second, pause deliberately. Expand the gap. When something happens, before responding, pause. Take breath. Count to 5. This pause creates space for conscious choice instead of automatic reaction. Initially, this feels awkward. Your habit is immediate reaction. Pausing feels like hesitation. But pause is not weakness, it's power. It's you choosing response rather than letting reaction choose for you. Third, identify your automatic response. What's your habitual reaction to this type of situation? Anger, blame, despair, avoidance, whatever it is, identify it. This awareness lets you decide whether that response serves you. Often, your automatic response doesn't serve you. It feels natural because it's habitual, but it creates negative outcomes. Recognizing this lets you choose differently. Fourth, consider alternative responses. What other ways could you respond? If your automatic is anger, alternatives might be curiosity about what went wrong, determination to fix it, acceptance that it happened. Multiple responses are always possible. Generate several alternatives. Don't judge them initially. Just identify different possible responses. This shows you that reaction isn't only option. Choice exists. Fifth, evaluate which response serves you best. Of the alternatives, which one will create best outcome? Not which feels most natural or satisfying in moment. Which one serves your long-term interests? This evaluation requires honesty. The satisfying immediate reaction often creates long-term problems. The uncomfortable initial response often creates better long-term outcomes. Choose based on what serves you, not what feels easy. Sixth, choose response consciously. Make deliberate decision. I'm choosing to respond with curiosity instead of anger. I'm choosing acceptance instead of resistance. I'm choosing determination instead of despair. Conscious choice activates the gap's power. This chosen response might not feel natural at first. That's okay. You're overriding habit with choice. Initially, it feels forced. With practice, it becomes natural. Seventh, act on your chosen response. Choice without action is meaningless. You've chosen curiosity? Ask questions instead of blaming. You've chosen determination? Start problem solving. You've chosen acceptance? Let go of resistance. Embody the chosen response. Action reinforces choice. Each time you act according to chosen response rather than automatic reaction, you strengthen new pattern. Over time, chosen response becomes new, automatic response. Eighth, notice the outcome. How did chosen response work out? Better than automatic reaction would have? This awareness reinforces wisdom of choosing response. You see tangibly that choice creates better outcomes than reaction. Sometimes chosen response won't work out better. That's information. Adjust next time. The practice is choosing consciously, evaluating honestly, and learning continuously. Ninth, practice with small things first. Don't start by trying to choose response to major crisis. Start with minor frustrations. Slow driver, long line, small disappointment. These are training ground for response choice. Each time you successfully choose response to small thing, you build capability. Then, when larger challenges come, you have practice skill available. 10th, prepare responses in advance for predictable situations. Some situations recur. Traffic frustration, difficult colleague, certain types of setbacks. For these predictable situations, you can decide in advance how you'll respond. When I'm stuck in traffic, I'll choose patience and use time for audiobook or reflection. Now, when situation arises, you have pre-chosen response ready. This makes choosing easier in the moment. Here's what choosing response looks like in practice. You get critical feedback. Your automatic response is defensiveness, but you notice the gap. You pause. You identify defensiveness as your automatic pattern. You consider alternatives. Curiosity about feedback. Gratitude for information. Determination to improve. You evaluate. Defensiveness makes you miss valuable information and damages relationship. Curiosity lets you learn. You choose curiosity. You ask questions about the feedback instead of defending. You thank them for input. You consider what to do with information. This chosen response creates better outcome than automatic defensiveness would have. You learned something. You maintained relationship. You have information to improve. All because you chose response instead of reacting automatically. Compared to automatic reaction scenario. Critical feedback arrives. You immediately defend. That's not fair. You don't understand. It's not my fault. The critic becomes more critical. You learn nothing. Relationship damages. You remain stuck in pattern that generated criticism. Same stimulus. Different response. Completely different outcome. The difference is choosing versus reacting. Here's your practice. This week, identify one situation that typically triggers automatic negative reaction. Could be traffic, could be certain person, could be type of setback. Whatever generates consistent negative reaction. Next time situation occurs, notice the gap. Pause. Identify automatic reaction. Generate alternatives. Evaluate. Choose consciously. Act on choice. Notice outcome. One situation, 1 week, practiced consistently. This builds skill. After mastering one situation, add another. Gradually expand your choosing capacity to more situations. Over time, choosing response becomes more automatic than automatic reaction, but it starts with conscious practice, with deliberately using the gap between stimulus and response, with activating your power to choose. Choose your response to circumstances. Notice the gap. Pause deliberately. Identify automatic response. Consider alternatives. Evaluate what serves you. Choose consciously. Act on choice. Notice outcome. Practice with small things. Prepare responses in advance. Chapter 3. Focus on what you can control. One of most damaging attitude patterns is focusing on what you can't control. Worrying about things outside your influence. Getting frustrated about unchangeable factors. Spending mental and emotional energy on elements you have no power over. This focus on uncontrollable is toxic for attitude. It creates helplessness, frustration, and anxiety. You're pouring energy into factors you can't change, which prevents you from directing energy toward factors you can change. You feel powerless because you're focused on areas where you are powerless. Positive attitude requires focusing on what you can control, directing attention, energy, and effort toward variables within your influence, accepting what you can't control, and working with what you can. This focus creates agency, effectiveness, and empowerment. Let me teach you how to focus on controllable. First, Understand what you actually control. Most people overestimate what they control and focus on those overestimations, or they underestimate what they control and feel helpless. Clear understanding is essential. You control your actions, what you do or don't do, your effort level, your choices, your behaviors. This is primary area of control. You control your attention, where you focus, what you think about, what you consume mentally. This is powerful form of control that shapes experience. You control your attitude, your perspective, your interpretation, your response. This is what this entire audiobook is about. You also significantly influence, though don't fully control, your skills through practice, your health through habits, your relationships through how you treat people, your environment through choices about where to be and what to surround yourself with. You don't control other people's actions, thoughts, or feelings. You don't control most circumstances. You don't control outcomes completely because they depend on factors beyond you. You don't control the past or guarantee the future. This distinction, what you control versus don't control, is foundation for proper focus. Second, when facing any situation, ask, what can I control here? This question directs attention appropriately. Even in situation where much is outside your control, something is within your control. Usually, your response, your effort, your next action. Identify these controllable elements. Don't waste time cataloging uncontrollable elements unless it helps accept them. Focus on finding what you can control. Third, accept what you can't control. This doesn't mean liking it. Acceptance means acknowledging reality without resistance. This is what's happening. I can't change it. Fighting reality is pointless. I accept it and work with it. This acceptance is liberating. You stop wasting energy fighting unchangeable factors. That energy becomes available for productive use. Acceptance of uncontrollable enables focus on controllable. Fourth, direct effort and energy exclusively toward controllable. Once you've identified what you can control and accepted what you can't, put all effort into controllable elements. Stop thinking about uncontrollable. Stop discussing it. Stop worrying about it. Work on what you can control. This exclusive focus multiplies effectiveness. Undiluted effort on controllable factors creates results. Divided effort between controllable and uncontrollable creates frustration. Fifth, focus on process over outcomes. Outcomes are only partially under your control. You can influence outcomes through your actions, but you can't control them completely. Process is fully under your control. How you prepare, how hard you try, how you respond to setbacks, what you learn. Outcome focus creates anxiety about things partially beyond control. Process focus creates confidence about things fully within control. Control the process excellently, and outcomes usually take care of themselves. Sixth, stop complaining about uncontrollables. Complaints are mental dwelling on what you can't control. They reinforce feelings of powerlessness. They waste energy. They don't change anything. When you notice yourself complaining about uncontrollable, stop. Redirect. What can you control? Focus there instead. Each time you stop complaining and redirect to controllable, you strengthen positive attitude pattern. Seventh, take responsibility for what you can control. Don't blame external factors for areas within your control. You can control your effort. So don't blame circumstances for insufficient effort. You can control your attitude. So, don't blame situations for negative attitude. Taking responsibility for controllable elements creates power. You're acknowledging your ability to influence your situation. This acknowledgement enables action. Eighth, let go of need to control uncontrollables. Some people spend enormous energy trying to control other people, circumstances, or outcomes. This creates constant frustration because you're trying to control what's uncontrollable. Recognize the futility. Let go. Focus on what's actually within your power. This letting go creates peace and effectiveness. Ninth, practice the serenity prayer principle. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. This ancient wisdom is perfect attitude framework. Apply it continually. For every concern, determine which category it falls in. Accept what you can't change. Change what you can. Know the difference. 10th, notice how focusing on controllable changes your experience. When you focus on uncontrollable, you feel helpless and anxious. When you focus on controllable, you feel empowered and purposeful. The same situation, experienced completely differently based on focus. This experiential learning reinforces proper focus. You directly experience that focusing on controllable creates better internal state. This makes it easier to maintain focus there. Here's what this looks like comprehensively. Problem arises. Instead of immediately reacting with, "Why is this happening? This shouldn't happen. It's not fair." You pause. You ask, "What can I control here?" You identify controllable elements. Your response, your next action, your attitude about it, your effort toward solution. You accept uncontrollable elements. Yes, this happened. Yes, it's unfortunate, but it's reality. Fighting reality won't help. You direct all energy toward controllable. You decide how to respond constructively. You take next productive action. You maintain positive attitude by focusing on what you can do rather than what you can't. You work process excellently regardless of uncertainty about outcome. This focus creates completely different experience than focusing on uncontrollable would. Same problem. But one person focuses on why it's unfair, who's to blame, how they can't control it. They feel helpless and frustrated. Other person focuses on what they can control. They feel purposeful and effective. Here's your practice. For 1 week, every time you feel frustrated, anxious, or helpless, ask, "Am I focused on something I can't control?" Usually the answer is yes. Then ask, "What can I control here?" Redirect your focus to that. Keep note of how many times daily you catch yourself focused on uncontrollable. How many times you successfully redirect to controllable. This tracking builds awareness and reinforces pattern. Over time, focusing on controllable becomes automatic. You don't waste energy on uncontrollables because you've trained yourself to recognize futility and redirect to where you have power. This creates consistently empowered, positive attitude because you're always focused on where you have agency. Focus on what you can control. Understand what you actually control. Ask what you can control in each situation. Accept what you can't control. Direct effort to controllable only. Focus on process over outcome. Stop complaining about uncontrollables. Take responsibility for controllables. Let go of need to control uncontrollables. Apply Serenity Prayer Principle. Notice how controllable focus changes experience. Chapter 4. Find opportunity in difficulty. Difficulty is inevitable. Problems arise. Setbacks happen. Plans fail. People disappoint. Circumstances deteriorate. This is part of life. How difficulty affects you depends entirely on your attitude toward it. Negative attitude sees difficulty as purely negative, as obstacle, as unfair burden, as evidence, life is hard. This attitude makes difficulty worse. It adds psychological suffering to inevitable practical challenge. It prevents learning and growth. It creates victim mindset. Positive attitude finds opportunity in difficulty, sees challenge as chance to develop, setback as information, failure as learning, problem as call for creativity. This attitude doesn't eliminate difficulty but transforms relationship with it. Difficulty becomes catalyst for growth, rather than just burden to bear. This isn't denying that difficulty is difficult. It is. It's uncomfortable, frustrating, sometimes painful. But attitude determines whether difficulty only harms or whether it also helps. Whether you emerge from difficulty merely damaged or damaged and developed. Let me teach you how to find opportunity in difficulty. First, expect difficulty. If you expect life to be smooth, every difficulty seems like aberration and injustice. This creates resistance and resentment. If you expect life to include difficulty, each challenge is expected part of journey. This creates acceptance and resilience. Not pessimism, just realism. Difficulty happens to everyone. Expecting this removes shock and resistance when it arrives. You're not thinking, "This shouldn't happen." You're thinking, "This is part of life. How will I handle it?" Second, ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every difficulty contains lessons about yourself, about others, about how things work, about what to do differently. These lessons have value that difficulty makes accessible. This question shifts attitude from victim to student. You're not just suffering, you're learning. The difficulty becomes educational experience, not just negative event. Third, look for the gift in the struggle. This sounds trite, but it's true. Most significant growth comes through difficulty. Most valuable skills develop under pressure. Most important realizations come from challenge. Difficulty is often gift wrapped in painful packaging. When facing difficulty, look for the gift. What strength is this building? What capability is this developing? What realization is this bringing? Finding the gift transforms attitude toward difficulty. Fourth, consider, what would this make possible? Some opportunities only exist because difficulty occurred. Losing job makes career change possible. Relationship ending makes finding right relationship possible. Failure makes learning and eventual success possible. Difficulty often clears path for better things that couldn't happen while you were stuck in comfortable but wrong situation. What might difficulty be making possible? Fifth, recognize that difficulty reveals your capability. You don't know how strong you are until strength is tested. You don't know how resourceful until resources are limited. You don't know how resilient until resilience is required. Difficulty reveals capacities you might not know you had. Each difficulty handled proves you're more capable than you thought. This proof builds confidence. Without difficulty, you'd never discover these capacities. Sixth, use difficulty to clarify priorities. When everything is easy, it's hard to know what truly matters. Difficulty forces clarity. What's actually important? What's worth fighting for? What can be let go? Difficulty strips away trivial and reveals essential. This clarification is valuable. Many people spend years on things that don't truly matter because they never face difficulty that forced clarification. Difficulty provides this service. Seventh, let difficulty build character. Character is developed through challenge, not comfort. Patience develops through situations requiring patience. Courage develops through situations requiring courage. Perseverance develops through situations requiring perseverance. If you want strong character, difficulty is required. It's the gymnasium where character muscles develop. Viewing difficulty this way changes attitude from resistance to willingness. Eighth, look for creative solutions. Difficulty demands. Comfort allows lazy thinking. Difficulty demands creativity. You must find new approaches. Think differently. Innovate. This creativity development is valuable capability. Some of best innovations come from difficulty. Constraint forces creativity. Problem demands solution. Shortage requires resourcefulness. Difficulty makes you more creative than comfort ever would. Ninth, remember that difficulty is temporary but lessons are permanent. The difficulty will end. The discomfort will pass. The problem will resolve, or you'll adapt. But lessons learned and strengths developed remain. You keep the gifts even after difficulty is gone. This perspective helps endure difficulty. You're not just surviving something unpleasant. You're gaining something valuable. The difficulty is temporary trade for permanent gain. 10th, share your lessons from difficulty. Your difficulty becomes valuable when you use it to help others facing similar challenges. Your lessons become legacy. Your struggle becomes service. This gives meaning to difficulty beyond personal experience. Knowing that difficulty can help others transforms attitude. You're not just suffering. You're gathering wisdom to share. This creates purpose that makes difficulty more bearable. Here's what finding opportunity in difficulty looks like. Challenge arises. Instead of "Why me? This is unfair. I don't deserve this," you think, "This is difficult. What can I learn? What opportunity might exist here? What capability will this develop?" You face the difficulty honestly. You don't pretend it's not hard, but you look for value in it. You ask what it's teaching. You notice what strength it's building. You consider what it makes possible. You clarify priorities through it. You look for creative solutions it demands. Through this process, difficulty still difficult, but your relationship with it transforms. You're not just victim of difficulty. You're student, creator, and developer. Difficulty becomes complex experience with negative and positive elements, not purely negative event. This attitude doesn't eliminate pain, but it prevents unnecessary additional suffering, and it extracts value from pain. You still hurt, but you also grow. This is best possible relationship with inevitable difficulty. Here's your practice. Current or recent difficulty in your life. Apply this framework. What can you learn from it? What gift exists in struggle? What does it make possible? What capability does it reveal? How does it clarify priorities? What character does it build? What creativity does it demand? What permanent gains come from temporary pain? How can lessons help others? Right answers. This reflection transforms your attitude toward difficulty. You see, it's not purely negative. It contains opportunity. This seeing changes experience. When next difficulty arises, repeat process. Each time you find opportunity in difficulty, you strengthen attitude that sees possibility and challenge. Over time, this becomes your default. Difficulty still difficult, but automatically, you look for opportunity in it. Find opportunity in difficulty. Expect difficulty. Ask what you can learn. Look for gift in struggle. Consider what difficulty makes possible. Recognize capability revelation. Use difficulty for priority clarification. Let difficulty build character. Look for demanded creativity. Remember, lessons are permanent. Share lessons with others. Chapter 5. Maintain positive outlook. Without denying reality. There's common misunderstanding about positive attitude. People think it means pretending everything is fine when it's not. Being unrealistically optimistic. Denying problems. Living in fantasy land where difficulties don't exist. This is not positive attitude. This is denial. And denial doesn't work. Reality eventually forces acknowledgement. Pretending problems don't exist doesn't make them disappear. It just prevents you from addressing them effectively. Real positive attitude acknowledges reality fully, while maintaining empowering perspective on it. It sees problems clearly, and believes in capability to address them. It recognizes difficulty and trusts ability to handle it. It's realistic about challenges and optimistic about response. This combination of realism and optimism is what creates effective positive attitude. Pure optimism without realism is naive. Pure realism without optimism is pessimistic. Both together create positive attitude grounded in reality. Let me teach you how to maintain positive outlook without denying reality. First, acknowledge reality completely. Look at situation honestly. What's actually happening? What problems exist? What challenges do you face? See clearly without filtering or denial. This honest acknowledgement is foundation. You can't address what you don't see. You can't solve problems you're pretending don't exist. Clear sight of reality is necessary for positive attitude to be useful. Second, separate facts from interpretations. Facts are objective. I lost my job. Interpretations are subjective. This is terrible, and my life is ruined. Facts you must accept. Interpretations you can choose. Most negative attitude comes from negative interpretations of neutral facts. When you separate them, you can accept facts while choosing empowering interpretations. I lost my job is fact. This is opportunity to find better fit is possible interpretation. Same fact, different interpretation, different attitude. Third, be optimistic about your response capability, not about circumstances. You might face genuinely difficult circumstances. Being unrealistically optimistic about circumstances is denial. Being optimistic about your ability to handle them is positive attitude. This situation is hard and I can handle it. Both parts matter. Acknowledging difficulty provides realism. Believing in capability provides optimism. Together they create grounded positive attitude. Fourth, Focus on possibilities while acknowledging constraints. Constraints are real. Resources are limited. Options are restricted. Acknowledge this. But within constraints, possibilities exist. Focus on what's possible rather than what's impossible. This focus doesn't deny constraints. It works with them. Given these real limitations, what's possible? This question is realistic and optimistic. It sees boundaries and looks for options within them. Fifth, maintain hope while being honest about odds. Sometimes odds aren't in your favor. Sometimes probability of success is low. Honesty acknowledges this. But low probability isn't zero probability. Where possibility exists, hope is rational. This is unlikely to work and it's worth trying. Both statements can be true. Hope doesn't require certainty. It requires possibility. Honest assessment of odds plus hope about possibility creates balanced attitude. Sixth, be solution-focused while problem-aware. You must understand problems to solve them. Problem awareness is necessary. But dwelling on problems without seeking solutions is toxic. Acknowledge problem, then shift to solution focus. This problem exists. Now, what are possible solutions? Problem awareness provides context. Solution focus provides direction. Together they create constructive attitude. Seventh, embrace uncertainty while preferring positive scenarios. Future is uncertain. You don't know how things will turn out. This uncertainty is reality. But within uncertainty, you can prefer and work toward positive scenarios. I don't know what will happen, and I'm working toward best possible outcome. Acknowledging uncertainty is realistic. Working toward positive outcome is optimistic. Both are true. Eighth, be grateful for what's working while acknowledging what's not. Rarely is everything good or everything bad. Usually, some things work and some don't. Acknowledge both, but emphasize what's working. This part is difficult, and these parts are going well. Balanced acknowledgement prevents both denial and excessive negativity. Gratitude for positive doesn't require denying negative. Ninth, learn from negative experiences without being consumed by them. Negative experiences contain lessons. Extract lessons without dwelling on negative emotions unnecessarily. This was painful and I learned valuable things. Learning from negative is positive attitude toward reality. Being consumed by negative is negative attitude. Extract value, then move forward. 10th, plan for realistic worst case while working for best case. Acknowledging worst case possibility is realistic. Preparing for it is prudent. But focusing energy on creating best case is positive. Both together create grounded effectiveness. If worst happens, I'll handle it this way. Meanwhile, I'm working to create best case. This combines prudence and optimism. Here's what reality-based positive attitude sounds like. This situation is difficult. My job ended. Money is tight. This is stressful and uncomfortable. These are the facts. And I'm capable of handling this. I have skills, resources, and resilience. I can find new opportunities. This difficulty is temporary. I'll get through this, and probably be better positioned afterward. See how this acknowledges reality. Difficulty, stress, discomfort are named honestly. But it also maintains positive outlook, belief in capability, temporary nature of difficulty, possibility of positive outcome, both realism and optimism present. Compared to denial-based false positivity, everything is fine. I'm not worried. Something will work out. I'm just staying positive. This ignores reality of difficulty. It provides no actual grounding. When reality forces acknowledgement, this attitude collapses. Also compare to pessimistic realism. This situation is difficult. My job ended. Money is tight. This proves life is hard. I'll probably never recover. Everything is falling apart. I knew things wouldn't work out. This acknowledges reality, but adds unnecessarily negative interpretations and predictions. Reality-based positive attitude is different from both. It sees reality clearly. It acknowledges genuine difficulty. And it maintains empowering perspective, belief in capability, and realistic optimism about possibilities. Here's your practice. Identify current challenge. First, write brutal honesty about reality. All facts, all difficulties, all problems. Complete acknowledgement without filtering. Then, write empowering perspective on same reality. Your capability to handle it. Possibilities that exist. Lessons you're learning. Temporary nature of difficulty. Positive scenarios you can work toward. Gratitude for what's working. Both lists are true. Facts and empowering perspective both exist. This exercise trains you to see both, to acknowledge reality fully while maintaining positive outlook. This is attitude that actually works because it's grounded in truth. Maintain positive outlook without denying reality. Acknowledge reality completely. Separate facts from interpretations. Be optimistic about response capability. Focus on possibilities within constraints. Maintain hope while being honest about odds. Be solution-focused while problem-aware. Embrace uncertainty while preferring positive scenarios. Be grateful while acknowledging difficulties. Learn from negative without being consumed. Plan for worst while working for best. Chapter 6. Transform complaints into solutions. Complaining is one of most toxic attitude habits. It focuses attention on problems. It reinforces helplessness. It creates negative emotional state. It pushes people away. It wastes energy that could be directed toward solutions. And it accomplishes nothing useful. Most people complain regularly about weather, about traffic, about other people, about circumstances, about politics, about their lives. This constant complaining reflects and reinforces negative attitude. The more you complain, the more negative your outlook becomes. Positive attitude requires transforming complaints into solutions. When you notice yourself complaining, you stop, redirect, and move toward constructive action. This shift from complaint to solution transforms attitude and creates actual improvement. Let me teach you how to stop complaining and start solving. First, notice when you're complaining. Complaint is verbal or mental focus on what's wrong, without movement toward improvement. It's stating the problem repeatedly, dwelling on unfairness, listing everything bad, blaming factors outside your control. Most people don't realize how much they complain. They think they're just stating facts. But there's difference between acknowledging problem once to address it and repeatedly stating problem without action. The latter is complaint. Track your complaints for one day. How often do you complain? About what? To whom? This awareness is first step to changing pattern. Second, understand what complaint accomplishes. In short, nothing useful. Complaint might provide momentary emotional release. It might generate sympathy from others, but it doesn't solve problems. It doesn't improve situations. It doesn't create positive outcomes. Understanding complaint's uselessness motivates change. If complaining did something useful, it would be rational. But it doesn't. It just reinforces negative state without creating positive change. Third, catch yourself when complaining and stop. Mid-complaint, stop. Don't finish the complaint. Just stop. I'm complaining. That's not helpful. I'm stopping. This interruption breaks automatic pattern. Initially, you'll complete many complaints before noticing. With practice, you'll catch yourself earlier. Eventually, before you even start. Fourth, ask, what do I really want here? Behind every complaint is desire for something to be different. You complain about traffic because you want to arrive quickly. You complain about someone because you want different behavior. You complain about situation because you want better circumstances. Identify the actual desire. This clarifies what you're actually trying to achieve through complaining. Though complaining doesn't achieve it, knowing what you want enables finding actions that might. Fifth, ask, what can I do about this? Shift from stating problem to identifying solutions. What action could you take? What's within your control? What might improve situation? Even if you can't solve problem completely, you can usually do something. That something is more useful than complaining. And focusing on possible action creates positive attitude, where complaint creates negative. Sixth, take action, or accept situation. Two options exist. You can act to change what you don't like, or you can accept it. Both are fine. Complaining without doing either is the problem. If you can't or won't take action, accept situation. This is how it is. I don't like it, but I'm not going to change it. I accept it. If you can take action, do so. I don't like this. I'm going to do X about it. Either way, complaint stops. 7th, redirect complaint energy into solution energy. Amount of energy you put into complaining, redirect toward solving. If you spend 15 minutes complaining about problem, spend 15 minutes solving it instead. This redirection dramatically changes outcomes. Complaint energy is wasted. Solution energy is productive. Same amount of energy, opposite results. 8th, change your language. Instead of, "This is terrible," say, "This is challenging." Instead of, "I can't stand this," say, "I'm handling this." Instead of, "Nothing works," say, "I haven't found solution yet." Language shapes attitude. Change language from complaint to empowerment. This isn't denying difficulty. It's reframing it in a way that enables action rather than paralysis. 9th, when others complain to you, don't join. Many people bond through mutual complaining. Someone complains, you complain too. They complain more. Cycle continues. This shared complaining multiplies negative attitude. When someone complains, respond differently. That sounds frustrating. What are you going to do about it? Or, I hear you. How can I help? Move from complaint toward solution. You might help them solve problem. At minimum, you don't reinforce complaint pattern. 10th, replace complaint with gratitude. When you notice complaint arising, stop and think of something you're grateful for. This deliberately shifts attention from what's wrong to what's right. This doesn't deny problem, but it prevents obsessive focus on problem. Balance awareness of problem with awareness of what's working. Gratitude practice is powerful complaint antidote. Here's what this transformation looks like. You're stuck in traffic. Automatic complaint starts. This traffic is terrible. I'm going to be late. Why is traffic always bad? This city's infrastructure is awful. You catch yourself. You stop. You ask, what do I really want? To arrive on time and feel calm. What can I do about this? Call ahead to inform them I'll be late. Use time for audiobook or reflection. Nothing I can do about traffic itself. You take action within your control. You make the call. You find audiobook. You accept you can't control traffic. Complaint stops. You've shifted from helpless complaining to empowered problem-solving and acceptance. Same traffic, but different attitude, different experience, different outcome. All because you transformed complaint into solution or acceptance. Compared to complaint spiral. This traffic is terrible. I'm going to be late. My boss will be angry. This day is ruined. Why does this always happen to me? I hate this commute. This city is the worst. Each complaint generates more complaint. Attitude deteriorates. Stress increases. Nothing improves. Same situation. Complaint creates misery without solution. Solution focus or acceptance creates peace and empowerment. Here's your practice. For 1 week, catch every complaint. Stop mid-complaint. Ask, what do I really want? What can I do? Act or accept. Redirect complaint energy to solution energy. Track how many complaints you catch and transform. Notice how this changes your attitude. You'll feel more empowered because you're solving instead of complaining. You'll feel more positive because you're focused on action instead of problems. After 1 week, continue. Make transformation of complaints into solutions automatic. Eventually, you won't complain because you'll immediately move to solution focus or acceptance. This creates consistently positive attitude because you're not reinforcing negative through complaint. Transform complaints into solutions. Notice when you're complaining. Understand complaint accomplishes nothing. Stop mid-complaint. Ask what you really want. Ask what you can do. Take action or accept. Redirect complaint energy to solution energy. Change language. Don't join others' complaints. Replace complaint with gratitude. Chapter 7. Use adversity as catalyst for growth. Adversity happens to everyone. The only variable is how you respond to it. Negative attitude treats adversity as pure setback, as something to merely survive, as unfortunate event to endure until it passes. This attitude wastes adversity's potential. Positive attitude uses adversity as catalyst for growth, as opportunity to develop capabilities you wouldn't develop otherwise, as push toward becoming stronger, wiser, more capable version of yourself. This attitude transforms adversity from pure negative to mixed experience with valuable positive elements. This doesn't mean liking adversity. It means using it, extracting maximum value from inevitable difficulty, ensuring that if you must face adversity, you at least grow from it. This makes adversity meaningful rather than merely painful. Let me teach you how to use adversity as growth catalyst. First, recognize that growth requires challenge. You don't grow in comfort. You grow when pushed beyond current capacity. Adversity provides this push. It forces you to develop capabilities, strength, and wisdom you wouldn't otherwise develop. This recognition transforms attitude toward adversity. It's not just obstacle. It's growth catalyst. Uncomfortable, but valuable. This perspective changes how you face adversity. Second, ask, what can this teach me? Every adversity contains lessons. About yourself, about life, about others, about how things work. Sometimes lessons are immediately clear. Sometimes they emerge over time. But they exist. This question shifts focus from pain to learning. You're still experiencing difficulty, but you're also extracting value through learning. This dual awareness makes adversity more bearable. Third, identify specific capabilities adversity is developing. Is it building your patience, your resilience, your problem solving, your emotional regulation, your creativity under pressure? Naming the capabilities being developed gives adversity purpose. You're not just suffering, you're training specific capabilities, like athlete training through difficult workout. Discomfort has purpose. Fourth, embrace the discomfort as growth indicator. When adversity is uncomfortable, that's signal you're being pushed beyond current capacity. This is where growth happens. Comfort indicates you're staying within current limits. Discomfort indicates you're expanding them. Reframe discomfort from "something's wrong" to "I'm growing." This changes relationship with difficulty. It's not emergency. It's development. Fifth, apply learned lessons immediately. As you identify lessons adversity teaches, apply them. Don't just acknowledge lesson intellectually. Change behavior based on it. This application solidifies learning and ensures adversity creates actual growth. Each applied lesson is growth adversity catalyzed. Over time, these accumulated lessons transform you significantly. Sixth, notice how adversity reveals your priorities. Easy times allow distraction. Adversity forces focus on what truly matters, what you protect during adversity, what you're willing to sacrifice for, what you fight to maintain. These reveal genuine priorities. This revelation is valuable. Many people spend years on things that don't actually matter to them because they never faced adversity that forced clarity. Use adversity for this clarification. Seventh, document your growth through adversity. Write about what you're learning, how you're developing, what capabilities are strengthening. This documentation serves multiple purposes. It helps you recognize growth that might otherwise go unnoticed. It provides evidence of resilience when facing future adversity. It shows you're using adversity purposefully rather than just enduring it. Eighth, share your growth with others. Your growth through adversity can help others facing similar challenges. Your lessons become teaching. Your strength becomes inspiration. Your transformation demonstrates what's possible. This sharing gives additional meaning to adversity. You suffered and grew. Now your growth helps others. This transforms purely personal pain into service. Ninth, compare yourself now to yourself before adversity. How have you changed? What can you do now that you couldn't before? What do you understand now that you didn't then? How are you stronger? This comparison reveals adversity's impact. You're not the same person who entered adversity. You've grown through it. Seeing this growth validates the difficulty's value. 10th, express gratitude for growth, even while hating adversity. Both can be true. I hate that this happened, and I'm grateful for who I'm becoming through it. You can despise the adversity while valuing the growth. This paradoxical gratitude transforms attitude. You're not grateful for adversity. You're grateful for growth, adversity catalyzed. This gratitude focuses attention on positive outcome of negative experience. Here's what using adversity as catalyst looks like. Major adversity strikes, significant loss, failure, or challenge. Your initial response is pain, anger, fear. This is natural and valid. But alongside emotional response, you ask, what will this teach me? What capabilities will this develop? You identify lessons. You name strengthening capabilities. You embrace discomfort as growth indicator. As you navigate adversity, you apply lessons. You notice priority clarification. You document growth. Eventually, you share insights with others. You compare current self to pre-adversity self. You recognize substantial growth. You still wish adversity hadn't happened, but you acknowledge it's transformed you positively, made you stronger, wiser, more capable. This recognition gives meaning to suffering and reinforces positive attitude. Compare to wasting adversity. Same adversity strikes. You experience pain, anger, fear. But you don't look for lessons. Don't recognize capability development. Don't apply learning. Don't document growth. Don't share insights. You endure adversity, and eventually it passes. But you're unchanged except for damage. Adversity's potential for growth is wasted. You suffered without gaining. This is tragedy on top of original adversity. Here's your practice. Current or recent adversity, analyze it as growth catalyst. What is it teaching you? What capabilities is it developing? What priorities is it clarifying? How are you different because of it? What will you do differently based on lessons? Write detailed answers. This reflection extracts maximum value from adversity. It ensures you're using it as catalyst rather than wasting its growth potential. When future adversity comes, immediately apply this framework. Don't wait until it's over. Use it as catalyst while you're experiencing it. This transforms experience from pure suffering to meaningful development. Use adversity as catalyst for growth. Recognize that growth requires challenge. Ask what adversity teaches. Identify capabilities being developed. Embrace discomfort as growth indicator. Apply lessons immediately. Notice priority revelation. Document growth. Share with others. Compare before and after self. Be grateful for growth while hating adversity. Chapter 8. Keep perspective in both success and failure. Attitude requires perspective. Ability to zoom out from immediate experience and see bigger picture. Without perspective, you're overwhelmed by momentary circumstances. Success inflates ego. Failure devastates. Both distort reality. Perspective balances immediate experience with broader context. Success in perspective is acknowledged and celebrated without ego inflation. Failure in perspective is addressed and learned from without self-destruction. Perspective enables stable, positive attitude, regardless of fluctuating circumstances. Most people lack perspective. They're fully immersed in immediate experience. When succeeding, they believe they'll always succeed. When failing, they believe they'll always fail. This loss of perspective creates unnecessary suffering during failure and sets up harder falls during success. Let me teach you how to maintain perspective. First, understand that both success and failure are temporary. Whatever you're experiencing now won't last forever. Success will be followed by challenges. Failure will be followed by recovery. This impermanence is a reliable pattern. When succeeding, remember, it's temporary. Enjoy it, but don't assume it's permanent. When failing, remember, it's temporary. Endure it, but don't assume it's permanent. This temporal perspective prevents both overconfidence and despair. Second, zoom out to larger timeline. Current success or failure is single point on much longer timeline. Your life contains many successes and failures. Current one is just latest in ongoing series. When overwhelmed by current situation, zoom out. Look at your life trajectory. See current situation in context of whole journey. This broader view provides perspective that immediate immersion can't. Third, distinguish between situation and identity. Failure at task doesn't make you failure as person. Success at task doesn't make you superior person. Situation is external. Identity is internal. They're separate. Losing this distinction creates problems. Failure becomes self-condemnation. Success becomes ego-inflation. Maintaining distinction keeps stable identity, regardless of fluctuating situations. Fourth, recognize patterns and cycles. Life has rhythms: good periods, difficult periods, growth periods, consolidation periods. These cycles are normal. Current phase is part of ongoing cycle. When in difficult period, remember previous difficult periods that were followed by good ones. When in good period, remember it will eventually shift. This cyclical perspective creates equanimity. Fifth, compare to absolute worst and absolute best. Whatever you're experiencing, it's not worst possible. It's not best possible. It's somewhere in middle. This comparison provides perspective. When failing, things could be worse. When succeeding, things could be better. This isn't to minimize experience. It's to place it accurately in range of possible experiences. Perspective comes from accurate placement. Sixth, ask, will this matter in 5 years? Most things that feel overwhelming now won't matter significantly in 5 years. Some will, but many won't. This question provides temporal perspective. If it won't matter in 5 years, it doesn't deserve the emotional weight you're giving it now. Save emotional energy for things that have long-term significance. Seventh, consider multiple people's perspectives. You see situation from your viewpoint. Others see it differently. What does it look like from outside? From future you looking back? From someone who loves you watching your experience? These alternative viewpoints provide perspective your immersed viewpoint lacks. They reveal aspects you can't see from inside experience. Eighth, acknowledge emotions without being controlled by them. Success generates elation. Failure generates disappointment. These emotions are valid. Feel them, but don't let them determine your entire perspective. Emotions are part of experience, not total experience. Acknowledge them while maintaining broader perspective. I feel disappointed about this failure, and it's one setback in larger positive trajectory. Both true. Ninth, focus on what you can control regardless of success or failure. Success or failure are partially beyond control. Your effort, attitude, response are within control. Keeping focus here maintains perspective during both. Success doesn't mean you can stop trying. Failure doesn't mean trying is pointless. Either way, you control your effort. This consistent focus maintains perspective. 10th, practice humility in success and confidence in failure. Success in perspective includes humility, recognizing luck, help received, and ongoing uncertainty. Failure in perspective includes confidence, recognizing capability, past successes, and potential for recovery. This balanced attitude, humble in success and confident in failure, demonstrates perspective. You're not inflated by success or deflated by failure. You maintain stable, accurate self-assessment. Here's what perspective looks like. You experience major success. You're excited, you celebrate, you acknowledge the achievement. But you also remember, this is one success in ongoing journey. You stay humble about role of luck and others' help. You don't assume future success is guaranteed. You enjoy present success while maintaining realistic perspective. Later, you experience major failure. You're disappointed. You feel pain. You acknowledge the setback. But you also remember, this is one failure in larger pattern that includes many successes. You stay confident in underlying capability. You don't assume future failure is inevitable. You address current failure while maintaining realistic perspective. Through both, your fundamental attitude remains stable. Success doesn't inflate you. Failure doesn't devastate you. Perspective creates this stability. Compared to perspectiveless extremes, success arrives. I'm amazing. I've figured it out. Everything will be great from now on. Ego inflates. Humility disappears. Next inevitable setback feels catastrophic because perspective was lost. Or failure arrives. I'm worthless. I always fail. Everything is terrible. I'll never succeed. Confidence disappears. Depression sets in. This despair is disproportionate because perspective is lost. Both extremes are unnecessary. Perspective prevents them. Success and failure are both placed accurately in larger context. Neither defines you. Neither is permanent. Both are experiences to learn from while maintaining stable center. Here's your practice. When experiencing success, deliberately practice perspective. Acknowledge achievement. Celebrate appropriately. Then zoom out. See it in larger timeline. Remember, impermanence. Stay humble. Keep focus on controllable. When experiencing failure, deliberately practice perspective. Acknowledge setback. Feel disappointment. Then zoom out. See it in larger pattern. Remember, temporary nature. Stay confident. Keep focus on controllable. Do this each time you experience significant success or failure. Over time, perspective becomes automatic. You naturally see immediate experience in broader context. This creates stable, positive attitude that weathers all circumstances. Keep perspective in both success and failure. Remember, both are temporary. Zoom out to larger timeline. Distinguish situation from identity. Recognize patterns and cycles. Compare to absolute worst and best. Ask if it will matter in 5 years. Consider multiple perspectives. Acknowledge emotions without being controlled. Focus on controllable. Practice humility in success and confidence in failure. Chapter 9. Influence others through your attitude. Your attitude is contagious. People around you are affected by it. Positive attitude uplifts others. Negative attitude drags them down. This influence happens automatically through emotional contagion, but you can wield it consciously. Understanding that your attitude influences others changes your relationship with attitude. It's not just personal state, it's social force. How you show up affects everyone you interact with. This gives additional motivation for maintaining positive attitude and additional responsibility for its impact. Strong positive attitude can transform groups, relationships, and environments. Weak negative attitude can poison them. Your attitude is not isolated to you. It ripples outward, affecting others who then affect others. Your attitude has multiplicative social impact. Let me teach you how to influence others positively through your attitude. First, understand emotional contagion. Humans are social creatures. We unconsciously mimic and absorb each other's emotional states. Spend time with anxious person. You feel anxious. Spend time with calm person. You feel calm. This isn't weakness. It's normal human neurobiology. Your attitude creates emotional field that affects those around you. They catch your mood, absorb your perspective, mirror your energy. This happens without conscious choice. Recognizing this makes you more intentional about attitude you project. Second, model the attitude you want others to adopt. If you want others to be positive, be positive. If you want others to be solution-focused, be solution-focused. If you want others to be resilient, be resilient. Modeling is more powerful than preaching. People are influenced more by what you demonstrate than what you say. Your lived attitude teaches more effectively than your spoken advice. Third, maintain positive attitude, especially when others are negative. One person with strong positive attitude can shift entire group. When everyone else is complaining, your refusal to complain creates different energy. When everyone else is despairing, your maintained hope provides alternative perspective. This doesn't mean being annoyingly cheerful or denying difficulty. It means being the person who finds possibility, identifies solutions, and maintains constructive focus. Your attitude provides anchor for others. Fourth, Use language that shifts perspective. How you frame situations influences how others perceive them. This is impossible creates defeatist energy. This is challenging but manageable creates can-do energy. Your words shape collective attitude. Choose language carefully. Frame challenges as opportunities. Frame setbacks as learning. Frame uncertainty as possibility. Your linguistic framing guides others' attitudes. Fifth, respond to others' negativity with positivity without dismissing their concerns. When someone expresses negativity, you don't join it, but you also don't dismiss their feelings. That sounds frustrating. And what's one thing you could try? Acknowledge validity. Add possibility. This balanced response validates them, while shifting toward positive focus. Over time, they learn from your consistent pattern. Sixth, celebrate others' successes and progress. Your genuine celebration of others reinforces positive attitude. It focuses attention on what's working. It creates positive emotional state. It motivates continued effort. Be generous with celebration. Notice and acknowledge others' wins. This creates culture of positivity that benefits everyone. Seventh, remain calm during others' panic. When everyone else is panicking, your calm is stabilizing force. They look to you and see that panic isn't only option. Your calm provides permission for them to calm down too. Calm isn't denial of threat. It's confidence in capability to handle threat. Your demonstrated calm influences others toward same confidence. Eighth, show resilience when others are despairing. Your bounce back from setback demonstrates that recovery is possible. Others see you fall and get up. This models resilience more powerfully than any explanation could. Don't hide your struggles and only show success. Show struggle and recovery. This complete picture teaches resilience through example. Ninth, maintain long-term perspective when others are short-sighted. When everyone else is focused only on immediate crisis, your broader perspective provides stabilizing context. This is difficult now, and we've handled difficult things before, and we'll get through this too. Your perspective reminds others of larger context they're losing in moment. This reminder shifts their attitude. 10th, create positive environment through your consistent attitude. Over time, your sustained positive attitude shapes environment. People become accustomed to your perspective. They start adopting it. Culture shifts. This is leadership through attitude. Not position-based. Not authority-based. Influence through consistently modeled positive attitude that others naturally absorb and emulate. Here's what this influence looks like. At work, crisis emerges. Others panic, complain, despair. You remain calm. Acknowledge difficulty. Frame it as challenge to handle rather than catastrophe. Focus on solutions. Maintain confidence in collective capability. Use language that emphasizes possibility. Your attitude affects meeting energy. Slowly, others calm down. Start looking for solutions. Regain confidence. Not because you told them to, because your attitude was contagious. Your emotional field influenced theirs. Or, in relationship, partner is negative about future. Focused on everything that could go wrong. You don't dismiss concerns. You acknowledge them. Then you add positive perspective. Remind of past successes. Identify current strengths. Express confidence. Maintain hope. Over time, your consistent positive attitude influences partner. They start seeing more positively. Not because you argued them into it, because your attitude, consistently modeled, became contagious. This influence is subtle but powerful. You're not controlling others. You're providing alternative perspective through consistent modeling. Those around you are free to maintain negativity, but often they absorb your positivity instead. Your attitude has this influence, whether you're conscious of it or not. The question is whether you'll use it intentionally, whether you'll deliberately model positive attitude to uplift others, whether you'll see attitude as social force you can wield constructively. Here's your practice. This week, consciously use your attitude to influence others positively. Model positive attitude. Use perspective-shifting language. Respond to negativity with balanced positivity. Celebrate others. Stay calm. Show resilience. Maintain perspective. Create positive environment through consistency. Notice the effects. How do others respond to your positive attitude? Do they gradually shift toward positivity? Do they look to you as stable presence? Do they start modeling your approaches? You'll discover that attitude influence is real. Your consistent positive attitude shapes others' attitudes. This gives your attitude additional significance. It's not just about your experience. It's about creating positive influence that benefits everyone around you. Influence others through your attitude. Understand emotional contagion. Model desired attitude. Maintain positivity when others are negative. Use perspective-shifting language. Respond to negativity with balanced positivity. Celebrate others. Stay calm during panic. Show resilience. Maintain perspective. Create positive environment through consistency. Chapter 10. Build mental toughness that sustains positive attitude. Maintaining positive attitude is easy when things are going well. The real test comes during difficulty, pressure, and adversity. Mental toughness is what sustains positive attitude through challenging times. Without it, attitude collapses when circumstances get hard. Mental toughness isn't innate trait. It's developed capability, built through practice, strengthened through experience. Anyone can develop mental toughness sufficient to maintain positive attitude through difficulty. This development is crucial because difficulty is inevitable, and attitude during difficulty determines outcomes. Mentally tough people maintain positive attitude not because life is easier for them, because they've built psychological resilience that sustains attitude regardless of circumstances. They've trained their minds to maintain empowering perspective even when situations warrant negativity. Let me teach you how to build mental toughness that sustains attitude. First, expose yourself to manageable adversity deliberately. Mental toughness builds through facing difficulty, not avoiding it, deliberately taking on challenges, doing hard things, uncomfortable things, stressful things. Each handled challenge builds toughness. Start with manageable adversity, cold showers, difficult workouts, uncomfortable conversations, public speaking, projects that stretch you. These controlled difficulties build toughness without overwhelming you. Each time you face difficulty voluntarily and handle it, you prove to yourself that you can handle difficulty. This proof builds confidence that sustains attitude during involuntary difficulty. Second, practice maintaining positive attitude during controlled difficulty. When doing cold shower, deliberate workout, or uncomfortable conversation, consciously maintain positive attitude. Don't just endure. Practice positive self-talk. Focus on controllable. Find the growth opportunity. This practice, when stakes are low, prepares you for when stakes are high. You're training attitude maintenance as skill, making it habitual through repetitive practice. Third, develop strong why. Clear, compelling reason for maintaining positive attitude. When difficulty comes and attitude wants to slip, strong why sustains it. Why does positive attitude matter to you? What does it enable? Why is it worth the effort? Write your why clearly. Refer to it when struggling. This why provides motivation to maintain attitude even when it's hard. Fourth, build self-discipline in small daily practices. Mental toughness and self-discipline are closely related. Both involve doing what you commit to, regardless of feelings. Discipline in small things builds capability for discipline in large things. Daily practices like consistent wake time, regular exercise, completed projects, kept commitments. Each act of discipline strengthens mental toughness that sustains attitude. Fifth, develop tolerance for discomfort. Mental toughness requires staying in discomfort without panic or escape, not seeking comfort immediately. Being able to sit with difficulty. Practice this through deliberate discomfort exposure. Sit in mild physical discomfort longer than comfortable. Push workouts slightly beyond where you want to stop. Have difficult conversation instead of avoiding it. Each instance builds discomfort tolerance. Sixth, use visualization of successful attitude maintenance. Mental rehearsal strengthens actual performance. Visualize yourself maintaining positive attitude during difficulty. See yourself choosing response, focusing on controllable, finding opportunity. This mental practice prepares actual neural pathways. When real difficulty comes, you've already practiced response mentally. This makes actual execution easier. 7th, recover quickly from attitude slips. You'll slip. Attitude will become negative during difficulty. Mental toughness isn't preventing all slips. It's recovering quickly, noticing slip, resetting attitude, continuing forward. When you notice attitude has slipped negative, don't spiral. Acknowledge it. My attitude slipped. That's okay. I'm resetting now. Quick recovery prevents temporary slip from becoming prolonged negativity. 8th, build physical resilience. Mental and physical are connected. Physical health, strength, and endurance support mental toughness. When physically strong and healthy, maintaining mental toughness is easier. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, good nutrition, physical care. These aren't separate from mental toughness. They support it. Neglecting physical undermines mental. 9th, develop emotional regulation skills. Emotions will arise during difficulty. Fear, anger, sadness, frustration. Mental toughness isn't absence of emotions. It's ability to experience emotions without being controlled by them. To feel and still choose response. Practice noting emotions without acting on them automatically. I'm feeling angry. I notice this. I'm choosing my response anyway. This space between emotion and action is mental toughness. 10th, review and celebrate your mental toughness. Notice times you maintained positive attitude despite difficulty. Acknowledge this. Celebrate it. This recognition reinforces the capability. Keep record of times you demonstrated mental toughness. Review it regularly. This evidence proves you have the capability. Makes it easier to access during future difficulty. Here's what mental toughness sustaining attitude looks like. Major difficulty hits. Your instinct is negative attitude. Fear, despair, complaint, helplessness. But you've built mental toughness. You notice these impulses. You pause. You choose different response. You focus on controllable. You find possible opportunities. You maintain perspective. You take action despite discomfort. You regulate emotions without being controlled by them. You recover quickly when attitude slips. Through all this, you maintain fundamentally positive attitude despite genuinely difficult circumstances. Not because difficulty isn't real, because your mental toughness is stronger than difficulty's pull toward negativity. You've trained this capability. Now it serves you when you need it. Compare to absence of mental toughness. Same difficulty hits. Automatic negative response occurs. Nothing intercepts it. Attitude collapses. Negativity spirals. You're overwhelmed by emotions. Focused entirely on uncontrollable. Can't see opportunities. Can't maintain perspective. Attitude remains negative throughout difficulty. You eventually survive, but unnecessarily suffer and miss growth opportunities. Mental toughness is difference between these scenarios. Not eliminating difficulty, not preventing initial negative reaction, but sustaining positive attitude despite both. Here's your practice. For next month, deliberately build mental toughness. Choose one form of manageable adversity to practice weekly. Cold showers, extra difficult workouts, uncomfortable conversations, public speaking, whatever stretches you. During each practice, consciously maintain positive attitude. Use all skills you've learned. Notice the gap. Choose response. Focus on controllable. Find opportunity. Maintain perspective. Practice the emotional regulation. After each practice, note how you did. Where attitude was strong. Where it slipped. What helped. What was hard. This review improves next practice. Also develop small daily disciplines. Exercise, meditation, journaling. Whatever builds self-discipline. Do these consistently, regardless of feelings. After 1 month of deliberate practice, assess your mental toughness. Has it strengthened? Can you maintain positive attitude through difficulty better than before? Most people will notice substantial improvement because they've actually trained the capability. Continue this practice. Mental toughness isn't built once and maintained automatically. It requires ongoing practice. But with consistent training, it becomes strong enough to sustain positive attitude through virtually anything. Build mental toughness that sustains positive attitude. Expose yourself to manageable adversity. Practice attitude maintenance during difficulty. Develop strong why. Build self-discipline daily. Develop discomfort tolerance. Use visualization. Recover quickly from slips. Build physical resilience. Develop emotional regulation. Review and celebrate your toughness. We've explored 10 essential dimensions of attitude mastery. Understanding what attitude really is. Choosing your response to circumstances. Focusing on controllable. Finding opportunity in difficulty. Maintaining positive outlook without denial. Transforming complaints into solutions. Using adversity as growth catalyst. Keeping perspective in success and failure. Influencing others through your attitude. And building mental toughness that sustains attitude. These aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical capabilities you can develop. Each dimension represents a specific way to take control of your attitude and use it to transform your experience. Together, they create comprehensive mastery of this crucial element. But understanding these dimensions changes nothing without implementation. You can know that attitude matters and still let circumstances dictate yours. You can recognize that you control your attitude and still fail to exercise that control. You can agree with everything in this audiobook and continue reacting negatively to life. So here's the question. Will you actually master your attitude? Will you do the work to take control of the one thing you always control? Will you practice these dimensions until they're habitual? Most people won't. They'll continue being victims of circumstances. Continue letting externals determine internals. Continue reacting instead of choosing. You can be different. You can actually master attitude. You can take control and use it to transform everything. But it requires commitment. To practice consistently. To catch automatic negative reactions and choose differently. To maintain positive attitude even when circumstances make it difficult. Because here's what's at stake. Your attitude determines your experience of life more than any other single factor. Same life, different attitude, completely different experience. You can improve circumstances and still be miserable if attitude is negative. You can face difficulties and still be content if attitude is positive. This is enormous power. Power you possess constantly. Power most people never use because they don't realize they have it. Power that transforms everything once you learn to wield it. Right now, your attitude is creating your experience. Whatever you're experiencing, frustration, satisfaction, anxiety, contentment, is largely determined by your attitude toward your circumstances. Not the circumstances themselves, your chosen attitude toward them. This continues until you take control, until you realize attitude is your choice, until you commit to mastering it regardless of what life brings, until you build capabilities that sustain positive attitude through all circumstances. 6 months from now, you could have completely different relationship with life, not because circumstances changed, because attitude changed. You could respond to challenges positively. You could maintain perspective through difficulty. You could find opportunity in setback. You could influence others through your outlook. All because you mastered attitude. Or you could still be reactive, still victim of circumstances, still letting external factors control internal state, still complaining instead of solving, still being dragged down by difficulty instead of growing through it. The difference is whether you do the work. Here's what I want you to do, starting today. First, commit to attitude mastery, not just hoping for better attitude. Committing to developing it deliberately. Write this commitment. Make it real. Second, choose one dimension to focus on this week. Maybe choosing response to circumstances. Maybe focusing on controllable. Maybe transforming complaints into solutions. Choose one. Practice it consciously this week. Every situation, apply that dimension. Third, Build daily attitude practice. Morning review of your why for positive attitude. Evening review of how attitude was during day. Where it was strong. Where it slipped. What you'll do differently tomorrow. This daily practice builds awareness and capability. Fourth, expose yourself to manageable challenges. Don't wait for difficulty to arrive. Deliberately face challenges that build mental toughness. Cold showers, difficult conversations, uncomfortable projects. Use these to practice attitude maintenance. Fifth, find accountability. Someone who will check on your attitude work, who will ask how you're progressing, who will support your commitment. This external accountability reinforces internal commitment. These 5 actions, started today, begin your attitude mastery journey. After 1 week, continue with next dimension. After 1 month, assess progress. After 3 months, notice transformation. After 6 months, you'll have fundamentally different relationship with life through mastered attitude. But this only develops if you start, if you actually implement, if you commit to the work, regardless of how long it takes or how difficult it is. Attitude is everything. Not sometimes. Not in certain situations. Always. For everyone. Your attitude determines your experience more than any other factor. It's the one thing you always control. The one variable fully within your power that influences everything else. Stop letting circumstances control your attitude. Stop being reactive. Stop waiting for life to improve before attitude can improve. Start taking control. Start choosing consciously. Start building positive attitude that persists regardless of externals. This is your power. This is your responsibility. This is your opportunity to master the one thing you always control and use it to transform everything. Your attitude determines whether you see obstacles or opportunities, whether you focus on problems or solutions, whether you're victim or agent, whether you influence others positively or negatively, whether you grow through adversity or just survive it, whether you live fully or merely exist. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control your attitude toward it. This control is your greatest power. Use it. Attitude is everything. Master it. Transform your life from the inside out. Begin today. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The work starts now. Choose positive attitude. Maintain it consciously. Let it transform everything.